Need some fast, cheap, reliable MUT coins? Go to MMOXP.com and use discount code MONEYSHOT for 5% off your order. Link in the description below. Welcome back, YouTubers and Madden fans. This is MADDENMONEYSHOT, sniffing out the Madden cheese as always. Got another video today, another gameplay. And this particular video is going to be all about how to be a better user on defense. I had a lot of requests about this topic in the last defensive video that I put out. The last defensive video I put out was all about adjustments you can make to make you a better defensive player. So I'll put a link in the description for that if you want to check that out. But this is all about after the snap, how to be a better defensive player, how to be a better defensive user against the pass and the run. I'm going to go over that. Starting out with the ball on offense, I'm using a Raiders scheme that I put out not too long ago. This is something that I mean, this entire video is actually, it's a kind of old. Like I still have Joe Montana's video, which I wasn't too hot on. I got rid of him pretty quick, and this was pretty much, I was still pretty much labbing some of these offensive plays at the time. Like that particular play there, if I had the time, that tight end was turning up, it was going to smoke that man coverage, but I didn't have the time, so it is what it is. He gets me to a 3rd and long. He sent a lot of man blitzes. It looks like he gets stuck on a defensive end, a defensive tackle, luckily, because if he was on a linebacker there, he might have had that pick. You know, no big deal. Punt it away. We almost get a great punt as it lands inside the 5, and it just gives me a little bit too much of a bounce as it goes in the end zone. So he's going to start off on the 20. Now, I make a mistake to start the game. I pick a cover 2 play. Number one, it's not a really good run defense. And number 2, I mean, right there, you can see right, it would have stuffed him as the cover 2 corner came down, but he makes a miss. And he gets a big run outside. So not the best start. Next play, I'm going to go with one of my more base defenses, though. And it looks like he's in a position which really could be the only run play. If it's a run play, the only run play could be because it's an inside zone. So if I step right in this gap before the play starts, I'm pretty much eliminating the only possible run play that it has. And you can see right here, I also get a free defender right off the side, basically stopping this run right in his tracks. Now he's going to call a no huddle, which brings me to my next point. He's basically showing his hand. Anytime that somebody calls a no huddle, it's because they see a defense that they think they can exploit. So knowing that, I pretty much know that I have to protect the weaknesses of the defense, which is slants. A lot of people think they can beat this defense with slants. Right here you can see I just basically user this one route. So the second he sees me jumping this, he just goes and throws to his next route, and I get the pick. So real simple. Let's just rewind that back. So since I took away the first route, his second read is obviously the streak. And once he throws that up, he's actually in front of my cornerback. You can see I'm behind. So I got to switch over as fast as I can, sprint out in front of him, and basically create contact. This is called boxing him out. Once I'm creating contact with this receiver, I basically control him. Even if I don't catch the ball, I'm basically going to keep him from catching it because I'm going to cut him off from the ball. And then my last thing to do is to high point that ball. Stay in front of that orange marker and try to get it at its highest point. You can see right there, we get an awesome user pick animation. That's a really high level pick. So something to keep in mind. You never want to actually run to the marker. You'll get way more picks jumping for the ball a couple yards in front of the marker and high pointing it like that. So that was, like I said, very high level play. Very next play on offense, we're going to continue to run the ball. We have a lot of success with that. Right here, we get a really big run. Didn't quite have the speed to get going because he's got Deion Sanders out there, but a lot of times that's a home run, that's a touchdown. So get a big play. Very next play, going to run the ball again. I probably should have kept it up as we have on the next play. Like I said, I'm trying to mix in some pass plays, and he's getting some really good pressure because he's sending the house, and we get sacked. So going for it, 3rd and 12. You know, this is once again not the best look. I have to force it because he's getting pressure once again. So we're going straight back to defense. No big deal. I come out what I would consider more of a run defense on the first play, but I make a really good user move, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. As soon as the play starts, I take off right for the corner route, which is the tight end, because I know that that beats this particular defense, but I keep an eye on the quarterback at all times. You can see right here, as he drops back one more step, the second he does that, I turn my attention to the other route, because essentially watching the quarterback is what gives away where the quarterback's looking. And the fact that he backed up just one step lets me know that he's changing his reads from one receiver to another based off of the fact that people don't throw off of their back foot. So you always have to look for clues when it comes to the quarterback. The quarterback gives away what the user's thinking based off of their movements. Like I said, people aren't throwing off their back foot because if they do, it's going to be an incomplete pass. So I knew that he was changing his reads from one guy to the next. Really simple. Like I said, another high level move. You have to watch the quarterback at all times. And another important thing to do as a user is not always about making the play as much as it is just cutting off angles. Here, against most players, this is probably a touchdown all the way. I mean, he's got a really fast running back. He's typically going to be up the sideline, and I know that. So I know that I have to take a different angle. because the plan is to cut him off, not get caught running him behind him, chasing him. You rarely catch up to players if you do that. So what I do right off the bat is I immediately shoot back to break that pattern, and I catch him at the 42, which is not even close enough to get a field goal at this point. So definitely got to be better at taking angles instead of chasing players. Like right there, I cut off the run rather than chase the run. Next play, he beats me with a big pass play anyways. I have a cover 2 invert. I come out in the wrong defense on that particular play. I'm playing the run a lot heavier, trying to, worrying about it a little bit more. Here, the tight end probably was wide open, but luckily I jumped just enough so that if he would have threw it, maybe I would have batted it, maybe I would have picked it. Then he calls a hurry up because I know he probably saw that. He probably saw how he missed that opportunity. So I know exactly where the ball is going to go, and I'm going to drop right back into the lane to get an easy interception. Now, we're going to run that back one more time. Just to show one more thing that I was doing on this particular play is essentially tapping the catch button. You can see right here, I'm already putting my hands up well before the ball arrives at its destination because I'm tapping the triangle Y button probably half a dozen times before the ball actually gets anywhere near me. That's going to give you a much higher percentage of catching the balls. I've talked about that in videos in the past. If you tap the catch button, the Y or triangle button, depending on Xbox or PlayStation, you'll have a much higher success rate of catching these interceptions rather than trying to perfectly time it. It's not a penalty you would get like you would if you were to actually hold the Y or triangle button. That was something that people used to do. Now that gives you a penalty where you don't catch balls as much, but tapping the button does not. So in the offensive series, you can see I'm struggling once again with my opponent's man blitz. I just wanted to get a little bit of space so I could punt the ball away. Like I said, the defense is going to have to get this done. So here we actually get a decent punt, even though it's a little bit far out of bounds more than I wanted. I actually flipped the field enough, but he's right to 50. So I got to play outstanding defense again right off the bat. These next couple plays, I do a pretty good job of cutting off the angles once again. Just like in the run play that I was talking about, you want to cut off angles when it comes to the receivers. You don't want to chase receivers any more than you want to chase running backs. So in these plays, you're going to see how I'm basically, once these guys come across the middle, I'm kind of leading them, cutting off the option. That particular play, I switched a little bit early, which didn't make sense because I guess I was just worried about the deep ball because he's been beating me with that a little bit against that particular coverage. Next play, I was just coming down to fill that gap once again. He calls the play a little bit too early, but I still make the user tackle because, like I said, inside zones are the most likely runs from those particular formations. So that's, you got to take away the most obvious thing, and that's exactly what I did there as we stopped one more time. So 3rd and 1, he's shooting for the end zone, and on the very next play, we almost get a pick, and that brings me to my next point. Always finish every play, every pass defense by hitting the Y or triangle button. It'll either warp you to the ball like it did there, or it will pull the ball out if the receiver catches it. If you're hitting Y or triangle, once the receiver catches it, a lot of times it'll knock the ball out if you have tight coverage. Gotcha, bitch. Finishing every pass defense with Y or triangle is really like a cure-all when it comes to stopping pass plays. As you can see right there, we get an interception. So moving on to the offensive side once again, not having a lot of success, but these run plays are still having a lot of success. So we're going to hit it with it one more time, get about 12 yards. I mean, we're in a situation where running the ball might not be the best decision, so we're going to come out a little bit of a pass defense. Like I say, he's doing a lot of man coverages. I'm just going to drop back, hit him with a couple of these zigs, just to try to break these man coverages. This is something that I put out in a tip video not too long ago, and it usually has a lot of success. This next play, doing the exact same thing. Like I say, he's in a lot of man coverages, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to use these man coverages, these man coverage beaters, to try to beat him up the sideline and try to force him out of this particular defense. And then we're still trying to run the ball a little bit, which, like I said, he's sending all out blitzes, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. So 3rd and 13, we make a lot of user adjustments on this particular play because I know he's sending the house with man coverage once again. So I block the tight end, basically create a play on the fly, which looks a lot like a play that I use out of the Saints playbook, and it has pretty much the exact same success that I want. As we work that zig one more time, the coverage was all shaken up, and I almost go to the house, but I don't. So with about 36 seconds left, got to use one of my timeouts. Then I notice he's not really covering the middle of the field. So even though I don't have the most mobile quarterback, I'm going to go ahead and hit him with a QB draw, almost get in, almost fumble too, because you never know when that's going to happen. 13 seconds left. I try to hit him with one more run play with only one timeout. I thought I could make it happen. I probably should have cut it back inside just a little bit more, and I might have had a touchdown. So with 8 seconds left, taking a little bit of a risk here, we're going to hit him with a zig route one more time, and you can see right here, he's about two yards deep into the Etzo with this where that marker is. So I go with a safe catch, thinking he's just going to catch the ball and fall down. But sure enough, I get the stupidest toe tap animation in the world. What the fuck? And that completely screws me out of any opportunity for any points in this drive. On to the second half, my opponent gets the ball, and like I said, defense is going to have to get this done. We almost, once again, like I said, finish every play hitting wire triangle. It's going to be the best thing that you can do to stop pass plays. You can see right here, we're getting some tight coverages. He gets a seriously whack animation, so I guess the BS is going both ways.
That's terrible.
Obviously, the BS isn't equal, but it is what it is. So 3rd and 10, sending a cover 3 blitz. We get a really good shed, and he's going to go for it. I guess he's frustrated. I mean, he's not really doing anything. He's going to go for it from his own 10, which is really not a wise decision, but he's obviously getting frustrated. So it's going to bring me up for my last tip of this video, which is essentially going to be something you can do on the coverage side, and that's run through receivers. You can see right here, I run through them. I'm not in position to make a play, so I run through it, basically just disrupting the timing, and we get our final stop of the game. He's going to go ahead. He's going to quit after that. Like I said, he just must have been frustrated. It was 0-0. He knows I was going to score, though, since he gave me the ball there. So that's it. That's the vid. If you guys want to see more videos like this, maybe an offensive video with stick skills on running back, stuff like that, do me a favor, hit the like button or let me know in the comment section, and I'll do that next. Other than that, thanks for watching. MADDENMONEYSHOT out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.